So, since the last video, I said that we were going to start on the E28, and I definitely did. As you can see, full front end's off, bonnet, wings, everything. Issues, the only ones that I'm seeing are the ones that, to be honest, I did. So, a few years ago, and a much more inexperienced me did this battery tray. If you know E28s, you'll know that, well, E28s in rusty areas, they usually go in the front battery tray and on the other side as well. I'd actually did the other side, but it hasn't fared as badly. But yeah, a few years ago, I tried to fix that and did a very shit job. At the time I thought it was alright, but you live and learn. The frame rails, as in the tops of the wings, all look really solid. So there's no rust. It's just dirty. We've got a little bit of surface on the top here. That's nothing to worry about. That'll all get cleaned up and sealed in properly. Yeah, same on the other side. But like I say, still no rust, which is a massive relief. I was half expecting to take the wings off and half of this be gone. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with how clean it is, other than the stuff that I did, which is shit. Yeah, today's plan is to start, well, we'll probably get the engine out today. So I'm going to drop all the fluids, disconnect the shifter inside the car. The prop's already off. I'm going to take the engine and gearbox out as one. So yeah, it's basically a case of drop all the fluids out the engine, disconnect the gearbox mount, the shifter linkage, and pull it out. So let's get started. Right, so we've got all the coolant lines off, radiators off, all the wiring loom has been brought out the car. The vacuum to the, whatever that's called, matrix hoses. The only thing left is engine mounts, gearbox mounts, and I need to figure out a good way of picking the back end of the engine up. I've got this spreader, so I've got the hook on the front, but I need to figure out a way of picking the back up without, preferably not picking up on the inlet, because I don't want to snap it. So we'll have to try and figure that out now, and then yeah, we should be picking it up and yoinking her out. So I just remembered that Matty's car, that he unfortunately crashed, his Edition 30. You might remember this from a video I detailed it. Still got the seat belts in. Seat belts are very good lifting straps for obvious reasons. So, cheers Matty, I'm just twacking a seat belt. I'm going to cut it off now. There we go. Thanks Golf. One lifting strap. So it's been a few hours since I filmed the last clip. I started getting into getting the engine out of the car. Multiple issues. I would have just done a time lapse for the full thing, but it would have been like I said, it probably took 2 hours in total to get this engine out. I've never had an engine out of this car before. I've never done it when I had a 6 Series that we broke for parts, but that didn't have a front end, so that getting the engine out was as simple as it could possibly be. But it is out. So to list issues, I had some issues with my lifting equipment. Wasn't particularly kosher or ideal, but it did the job. It just kept, every now and again it'd sort of jump a little bit and I'd shit my pants, but getting the engine high enough out of the car so that I could pull it forward to then pick the back end up was an absolute nightmare, because I had the car on the ramp, I had the front legs under the car, picking the front of the car up so I could get the legs of the engine crane under the car, but the engine crane ran out of oil, so I didn't know it ran out of oil, so I had to figure that out, put oil in it, and then I could pick the engine up high enough. But as it was going over, as it was coming out, it was catching on those power steering lines. So yeah, it was just, there was a multitude of snags and issues along the way, and as it was going over the front cross member, like the full front slam panel, as it was going over that, I was really sketched out, because if the engine fell from where it was onto that crash bar, gone, car's fucked. But it didn't happen. The engine is out, so next job is to remove that gearbox, which is the grimiest thing I have ever seen in my life. This entire engine, to be fair, is absolutely disgusting. Old BMs, just, like, what's all this? Old BMs have the most leaky engines ever. All that's all minging as well. So all this is going to get jet washed and cleaned up. I need to take all the little ancillaries out of the engine bay, totally strip the engine bay, so we can start on tidying it up. So yeah, pretty exciting. So it's the next day. Last night the lighting got too bad. The lights in here are absolutely terrible. That's literally the lighting. 2 strobe lights, strip lights. So today the plan is to get the box off the engine and hopefully clean it, because it's absolutely disgusting. And then we'll start taking all the gubbins out of the engine bay, ready to clean that, and start making plans for smoothing stuff up, deleting stuff, what needs to go where, stuff like that. So first things first, let's get that off. So camera died like 50 seconds into that last clip. So the engine and gearbox are now separated. The clutch looks like the throwout was rubbing a bit, which makes sense because it was kind of hard to get it to select the gear. So that was due. So yeah, this, as you can see, look at the sludge on that. So we'll have to get that cleaned up at some point before it goes back in. New mounts, new guibo. Yeah. So now that engine can be stripped of everything I need, and I'm not sure what to do with the block. Might make a table or something, or some sort of ornament out of it, but put in the comments what you think we should do with the old B20. Alright folks, so today I'm taking my wheels for the Corvair to get powder coated. They're going to Total Wheels Solutions, I believe it's called, in Middlesbrough. They're getting done in chrome powder coat. It's not quite, doesn't look quite chrome, it's like a really vibrant high silver. So we're gonna take them down there. Some woman just walked past and looked at me like I had two heads because I'm sat in my car with a camera. So yeah, it's not quite chrome, but it's as close as it's going to get, and there's no way I'm sitting and polishing them up to a chrome finish. So yeah, we'll get down there and drop these off. Right, so I've dropped the wheels off at TWS, and I popped into Hawks Fasteners while I was down there and got some bolts for the seatbelt bolts for the Corvair. So got these, I believe they're a UNF thread, obviously Imperial, but I got these seat belts off a shop on eBay. They're just basically same as what you get in an aeroplane. Put the bolt down in there, so there's one on the other side, but the carpet's covering it, so I'll have to probably pick the car up and poke through the hole in the bottom of the car for it. But yeah, that's another piece to the puzzle of the interior being finished. So once I get the wheels back, get tyres put on the wheels, we can see what it's going to look like properly. So I'm dead excited for that. I hope it looks good. I think it's going to look sick, but yeah, I'm excited to be able to drive this. Luckily, whatever season we get this year, I'll have that, and this can be sat in here getting all the work. So first things first with this is we need to jet wash the engine bay. I don't have a jet wash, but my neighbour Elliot does, so we'll twack that off him. There we go. Engine bay is relatively clean, or clean enough for me to make a start. Places of concern, obviously that, but that's all going. Just getting my engine bit. So there is that. There is this in here. Doesn't look too sexy. Not too keen on that. There's a little bit down here near the upper control arm mount. There is some scabbing in there, in the seam. Other than that, it's pretty good. So, I think what we're going to have to do, probably going to have to remove all this brake system, or move it out of the way. Get in here, clean up the metal as best as possible. Treat it, hopefully it hasn't gone through yet. Treat it with just rust treatment solution. And then this bit I'll have to patch, which I can now do because the engine's out, so that'll be pretty easy. And this is all the same. I'll have to clean all this back, treat it, and ensure that it's not going to get any worse. I think that's going to do it for this video. Got the engine out. As you can see, I'm stood in my engine bay. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.